Hey everyone, today we're going to be having a look at which blocks in Minecraft cause the most amount of lag, and by lag I mean FPS lag, so the biggest drop in FPS. So we've all been there, you just turn around and then suddenly you're hit with a big FPS lag spike because you looked at some forbidden part of your base with I don't know, too many chests. Quite often it's your storage room. So today we're going to have a look at different blocks that cause these issues. So the way I've been conducting this test has been in a fairly rudimentary way, where I just spawn in a large number of any particular offending block, and I come down here, press this button to get into position at the exact same time every time. Check the F3 screen and compare frame rate to another test where I had absolutely nothing there, and then based upon any differences I would put them into one of these four categories. So here we have all the blocks that I have tested, so green, yellow, orange and red in varying orders of how good they are for your world. Basically green, these mean like that they have little to no effect on your world whatsoever in terms of FPS lag. So things like flower pots with flowers, glass leaves. Thing about leaves is if you have your graphics settings set to in your details, is it? Yeah, your trees, if they're set to fancy, then they do have an effect because the whole geometry of the leaves, if I stack them, is loaded in, whereas if I set it to smart, which seemed to have no effect on the FPS whatsoever, you see it doesn't render that bottom section, it doesn't render the whole thing, just the outside leaves. See, you can only see 1, 2 and 3 sides at the moment, so I'd recommend, if you're worried about FPS lag, definitely keep it on smart if you have Optifine. Yeah, trapdoors, great to see that this is in this category because if you're anything like me, you'd use a lot of these. Fences, everything you see here, coral, barrels as well. So barrels are a great way to store your items because chests are absolutely terrible for lag, as we'll see later. And then I'll just pan across here. There's another thing, redstone blocks on their own as decoration do not cause lag, and well, these ones here don't. However, once you put it into a redstone contraption, they may or may not cause lag, although I know for a fact observers are very good for lag reduction instead of using redstone line, for example. All of these doors, composters and decoration blocks as well. So these are all the ones with uncommon geometry that I find, or like functionality, like that no block for example, that might cause effect but on lag, but as far as we know, no effective lag has been created by these. And then you get to this part where they're fine in like just isolated areas, but if you start to get heaps and heaps of them, then it's not very good for your world. So lit versions of all the smoker furnace and blast furnace, lit candles can cause an effect if you've got an absolute metric ton of them, but for context, these have been like placed in like huge swaths, and I only saw a very minimal decrease in FPS as compared to these green ones, so you should be alright with using these in your world. I wouldn't recommend changing them based upon whether you have iron bars in your world or not. The next worst is orange. These ones are the ones you probably want to think about removing. If you have a lot of them in your world, they might cause a little bit of lag. Particular favorite one of mine to use is a campfire log, the unlit campfire. But I'd still wouldn't worry about these too much unless you got like a heap of them that you could possibly remove. And then we come to the don't you dare touch these in your blocks for your world. So signs filled with text or empty signs are both quite bad. Signs filled with text are even worse than an unfilled sign. Item frames, especially with items in it, I think unfilled is slightly better. I think unfilled item frames are in the orange category. Filled item frames are even worse. Shulker boxes, armor stands, and filled armor stands are absolutely terrible. Enchantment tables, you're unlikely to have a lot of these in your world. And finally, chests and trap chests. These are absolutely terrible for FPS lag in your world, probably because of their weird geometry and the little nub they got here. I'd highly recommend switching them out for barrels, as they cause absolutely no lag. But yeah, so these are all the blocks. I'll just pan across it here so you can see all of them. And I hope this video is helpful to you and that you can actually increase the frame rate in your world.